true that the US withdrew from dozens of international organizations in the last couple of weeks? Let's find out. I'm Kezia from MWAG, and each week we pick a news story to practice some media literacy basics. This week we're looking at an Instagram reel posted by the New Yorker magazine, which highlights part of a podcast discussion about US foreign relations. It says the US withdrew from more than 60 international organizations and institutions earlier this month.
It didn't get as much attention because we were so focused, understandably, on the United States just kidnapped a world leader and, brought him to trial and, a lot of very specific news events. The United States this week withdrew from more than 60 international organizations and institutions of exactly the kind of
moment.
First, let's stop. This is just a video clip, so we should go find more information. Let's investigate the source. The New Yorker is ranked as having a left bias with highly factual reporting on media bias / fact check. Podcasts themselves can be a little harder to evaluate, but this particular podcast from The New Yorker, called The Political Scene, is ranked by Ad Fontes Media as having a strong left bias, with generally reliable reporting and analysis. Now, let's find more coverage on this topic. We found this article from AP News that said that an executive order had been issued to withdraw from 66 international agencies, organizations, and commissions. The U.S. will no longer participate in the UN Framework Convention on Climate Change, as well as 30 other UN groups that focus on climate, labor, migration, and other issues. Non-UN groups being cut include the International Institution for Democracy and Electoral Assistance and the Global Counterterrorism Forum, among others. Secretary of State Marco Rubio said the decision will save the U.S. money, time, and energy, and that the organizations were redundant in scope, mismanaged, unnecessary, wasteful, and poorly run. Critics say the move is short-sighted, especially in regards to the climate change issue. Let's try to trace this back to the original source. On the White House website, we found a link to the executive order itself, which lists the organizations from which the U.S. will withdraw. So, is it true that the U.S. has withdrawn from dozens of international organizations since the beginning of the year? The answer is yes. For more media literacy content, subscribe to our free weekly news roundup.